You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Hingle. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, and today the Giants got a little bit of revenge against the Philadelphia Phillies with an 8-4 Memorial Day win at Oracle Park. The bottom of the order delivered big time today as Wisely, Ramos, and Yaz accounted for 6 of the Giants' 8 runs batted in. And we got to give the bullpen some love as they tossed 5 shutout innings, only 2 hits against one of the best offenses in baseball to hold down the win for the Giants. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. If you're getting us on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, appreciate you tuning in there. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. We also got to talk about the Blake Snell experience because this is getting old, man. And he looked good early. I will say there were some positive signs from Blake Snell today. He's last time out in his last outing, it felt kind of similar to this one, but a little different because he was locating all of his pitches well early in this one. His last outing, we saw him locating the fastball for the first time effectively this season. Today, early on in this game, we saw him locating all of his pitches well. That first inning, that strikeout against Bryce Harper on 3 pitches where he threw him 2 challenge fastballs in a devastating slider that just took his legs out from under him, made him look silly on that strikeout, and then gets 2 more strikeouts on 2 curveballs for later in the game. The off-speed stuff isn't hanging nearly as much as it was before today, not falling behind in counts early nearly as much as he did in his last time out. However, once we got into that 4th inning, Snell hit a wall. He gave up that triple to Sosa, bounced one in the dirt, got by Bailey. Sosa scored on that wild pitch. We saw the Schwarber home run. I mean, that's going to happen. Kyle Schwarber's gonna run into a few. It wasn't the best pitch Snell's ever made on that Schwarber home run, and it was a no-doubter, man. He crushed that 10th home run of the season for Schwarber. At that point, Giants still had the lead because in the bottom of the second, the Giants scratched across 3 runs. Matt Chapman walked, started a 3-run Giants rally. Bailey singled, Soler deep sack fly, advanced both runners, and Mike Yastrzemski doubles down the right field line and scores 2 runs. Wisely then comes up and hits a soft single into center field. Mike Yastrzemski, who runs well, scores from second on the play. Giants with the early 3-0 lead, helping Blake Snell out, doing all they can. But as it was, Snell gets through the 4th inning, but not without damage done. As I said, he gave up that home run to Schwarber in the 3rd, and then in the 4th, the Sosa triple, bounced one in the dirt that got by Bailey. And that was a tough play. I mean, Bailey was in good position to block the ball, but the ball didn't really bounce. It just hit the dirt and kind of died and it just squirted, I mean, right in between Pat Bailey's legs, just all the way to the backstop. That run tied it 3-3. And then Matt Chapman booted a ground ball down the line. With as much as we constantly rave about Matt Chapman's defense, I mean, his errors have been uncharacteristic this season. It was a tough play. He was charging in on the ball, tried to scoop it with one hand, but it's a play that you expect Matt Chapman to be able to make. At the end of the day, that run ends up scoring. Blake Snell battled back to strike out Pache in an 8-pitch at bat. It was a big strikeout with 1 runner on. Merrifield had taken second base on a steal after that Matt Chapman error. And he ends up scoring because Rojas, who fights back from an 0-2 count, fights it to a full count in inside fastball. Blake Snell made a great pitch on that full count, but Rojas fought it off the fists, bloops one into center field. Phillies score on as the runner from second scores and take a 4-3 lead. Chapman error comes back to hurt the Giants in Major League Baseball. Free 90s come back to haunt you. The Phillies took a 4-3 lead there, and Snell was done. He was able to get out of the inning, but 90 pitches, 52 strikes, a little bit more in the strike zone this time than he has been recently, but still not efficient at all. Although that's not something you really expect from Snell. He's never going to be the most efficient guy out there on the mound. 5 hits, 4 runs, only 3 earned because of that Chapman error. 2 walks. That's really good because we, in his last outing, saw Blake Snell walk a lot of guys. This time, 7 strikeouts, a season high for Blake Snell. Early on, he really did have his stuff. It looked like this was going to maybe be the day where we see Blake Snell start to return to form. And it was right there for him, and then he hit that 4th inning wall again. It's a matter of the Giants figuring out how to get this guy to pitch deeper into games. If he just seems to fall apart once he hits around the 80 pitches, 75 pitches, and this is a guy who's still trying to stretch out. Again, no spring training. You're really seeing the effects of it right now. This guy, I mean, Blake Snell's had like 5 starts this season. It hasn't. You usually get that in spring training or something close to it between simulated games you're actually going to pitch in, and things like that. So this is a guy who's still trying to ramp up and stretch out, but we're at the point where you can't make excuses anymore. We're a couple days away from June. I've been saying all day long, or all year long, wait till Memorial Day, wait till Memorial Day. Well, we are here. It is Memorial Day. Blake Snell, it's not getting it done on the hill. Alex Cobb is still somehow just meandering through his rehab process. It doesn't seem like the Giants have too much urgency to bring him back right now. It seems like he's having setback after setback, and he's nowhere to be found in the Giants facility lately, at least on game days. And Robbie Ray is still working through the rehab. Tristan Beck's still working through the rehab. You have all these arms waiting to come back, and Blake Snell not contributing to this Giants team as a starting pitcher is starting to hurt the team. Thankfully today, the Giants' young bats in the bottom of the order specifically showed up and showed out. They carried the Giants to a win in this one. Later on, after Snell exited from this game in the bottom of the 5th inning, the Giants took the lead back as Matos, an infield single. He actually tripped over the base, not over the base, but tripped and launched himself over the base, missed first base on his way down the line, had to turn around and run back, touch the bag. He was safe on the play. Lamont Wade Jr. doubles a ball off the right field wall, but with a late slide into second base, he comes up limping and more than limping. He needed help to get off the field. He couldn't really walk, and it was a hamstring injury, the Giants reported. His hamstring was feeling tight at the end of the road trip. We saw him not playing in a few games at the end. If you recall, there was that game where he drove in Matos to tie the game up in the 9th inning, and he was thrown out at second base trying to stretch that base hit into a double. And it seemed like a play that Lamont Wade should be able to get the second no problem on. He wasn't running hard out of the box. But I think the reason he wasn't able to get to second on that play in that game where he drove Matos in to tie the game in the 9th, I think his hamstring hindered him on that play too. So this is something Lamont Wade Jr. has been dealing with for a few days. And I don't think it happened on the slide itself. If you go back and watch the replay, you can see him grimacing as he goes into the slide well before he hits the base. As he's sliding, before he even enters the slide, you kind of see his face start to turn. By the time he's in the slide, he's like fully groaning audibly, and you can see his mouth wide open, just in pain as he's sliding into second base. Not a great sign, because this is a guy that is essential to the Giants. I mean, we talked a few days ago on the show about how this guy has the makings of an all-star this year for the Giants. He's been so good, the best on-base percentage in baseball by a mile. The Giants are, I mean, everyone's been hitting, so maybe they can make it work without him. But yeah, it's hard for me to imagine the Giants having sustained success without yet another key contributor to their offense. If Lamont Wade Jr. is going to be sidelined for any extended period of time, this is very concerning for the Giants. Hopefully they can stay afloat. I mean, maybe you can have Brett Wisely play first base. Just kidding. That's like a desperation only moment. Anyways, Lamont Wade Jr., after he hits that double, the Giants have runners at second and third, and Tyro Estrada smashes a hot shot down the line, and Alec Baum misplayed it. The first of several plays down the third baseline that Alec Baum couldn't handle. They ruled it an error. A lot of these hits were ruled errors that could have been ruled hits down the line to Baum. He had like 3 or 4 plays in this one, and I think he had 3 errors in any of those errors. Not any of them, but I feel like at least all but one of those hits could have been ruled a hit or an error either way, because all of those plays were very difficult in line drive smashes. Although Baum, if you're looking for little league advice, don't watch Alec Baum play third base, because this guy does not know how to put his body in front of a ball and knock it down and keep it in the infield. A lot of these balls, every time that they were getting hit down the line, he'd kind of turn sideways out of the way of it and take a swipe at it with the glove. And that's exactly what you're told not to do. That's exactly what you're told not to do in every level of baseball. Alec Baum, it comes back to bite him here in that double that Yaz came up and the double from Lamont Wade Jr. sets up the Tyro Estrada smash down the third baseline. Run scores on the play as Matos comes in from third, and then a Pat Bailey sac fly scores Wilmer Flores, who came in for Lamont Wade Jr. Giants take a 5-4 lead in that bottom of the fifth inning. And then we see Randy Rodriguez make another appearance, and this guy has just been mowing fools down. 6 up, 6 down, got a strikeout in the process. ERA down to 1.76 on the year, and I just want to see more and more and more Randy Rodriguez out of the pen in high leverage situations. This guy's got gas, man. 100 plus on the gun, and it doesn't seem like he needs a lot of secondary pitches to have some success. He does have that slide piece, that sinker as well, but the Randy Rodriguez just dominant on the hill, and I don't really want to see him in the 6th inning much anymore for the Giants. I want to see this guy in 7th, 8th, and 9th, no later. We saw other guys pitch today. We saw Camilo Doval come in and pitch a ton of bullpen arms. Eric Miller as well. I would rather see Miller come in before Randy Rodriguez. Miller's pitched pretty well this year too. Ryan Walker also pitched in this one in relief. I thought the Giants might throw Sean Jelly today, but we didn't see him. Instead, they opt to use Camilo Doval in another 4-out save situation, but that came a little bit later in the game. And prior to that, Mike Yastrzemski in the bottom of the 6th started another Giants run scoring rally as he walked, and Brett Wisely gapped one into right center, driving in Yaz. 5 consecutive games with an RBI for Wisely now. This guy is just raking at the dish. All of the Giants hitters at the bottom of the order really doing damage in this one, because then in the bottom of the 7th, Ramos gets in on it. 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Merrifield can't handle a pop-up in no man's land that loads the bases for the Giants after 2 Phillies errors, and one of those was another Alec Baum error at third base. And then Ramos, with 2 outs, plates 2 more runners with a single. Giants take an 8-4 lead, and then in comes Camilo Doval in the non-save situation, gets the win for the Giants, locks up the win, doesn't get a save, non-save situation, but the Giants win 8-4. And I don't know why. I'm just nitpicking here, but I don't know why Bob Melvin keeps using Doval in non-save situations. You had Sean Jelly down there today. I know that he's given up a home run in each of his last 2 outings, but this guy has been effective all season long. I don't think that's very indicative of how Sean Jelly has been pitching overall this season. I would have liked to see Jelly come in, and maybe you could have avoided pitching Doval in the 9th. You have Randy Rodriguez pitching great. You have Ryan Walker pitching great. You have a couple different options that you can use late in games in this one. If they had gone to Eric Miller first, then Sean Jelly, then some combination of Randy Rodriguez and Ryan Walker to close it out, either one. I mean, I would rather see Walker in the 9th and Rodriguez in the 8th. But that's kind of what I want to see out of this bullpen. I think Randy Rodriguez should jump a couple of these guys at this point. He does get the win today as Snell only tossed 4 innings, so not deep enough in the game to get a start, to get the win for Blake Snell in the start. However, Blake Snell, even though he did give up those 3 earned runs in 4 innings, the ERA actually goes down in this one. His ERA is down to 10.42, which is not good. That's still way too high. It is, as I said, we're at the Memorial Day mark. You need to start seeing some production out of these guys. We talked about that with all these Giants free agents that they signed: Matt Chapman, Jorge Soler, and Blake Snell, predominantly those 3 guys. And you've seen the production from Matt Chapman. He is starting to come alive. Jorge Soler, I feel like he's close, man. He's hitting the ball a lot better now than he used to. He's seeing it a lot better now than he was at the beginning of the season. He's actually drawing some walks, and today he went over 4, didn't get on base. But he did have some hot shots come off the bat. He had that very deep sac fly to center that set up some run scoring for the Giants, a productive out. He smashed one down the third baseline that went just right to Alec Baum. It was a little bit of bad luck. But this guy is starting to hit. I feel like he's about to pop too, the same way that we saw Matt Chapman kind of put it together. So positive signs. The bat path from Soler looks different. Not as much of a big loop in the swing. Seems like he's getting on top of those fastballs a little bit more. Same issue that Matt Chapman was having. So hopefully Soler can put it together. Point being, both of these guys are starting a little bit. Matt Chapman has shown you far more than Jorge Soler does. I'm not trying to make excuses for Soler, but I feel like we're starting to see him hit the ball better. The vision is there. He's making better contact. It will come, I feel like, eventually with him. But Blake Snell, he's been piecing it together little bit by little bit, one thing at a time in his game. He just seems to add each game, and that might not be enough for the Giants. It has been a very, very, very slow start to the season for Snell, and we're getting to the time in the year where he needs to deliver, or I mean, it's not like the Giants can just sit this guy down after you gave him the contract you did, but you got to see something from Blake Snell, or else you got to consider maybe skipping a start or two at certain points in time while this guy continues to work back and stretch out, throw bullpens maybe instead. I don't know what to do with this guy. He's the only way he's going to get better is if he keeps pitching, but at the same time, the more you throw him, the more that he kind of hurts the Giants out there and their chance to win. He's obviously the reigning Cy Young pitcher. He's not a bad pitcher. The swing and miss stuff is still there. It's just not translating to wins. It's not translating to him being able to pitch deeper into games. And that's an issue right now. The Giants play really well when their starting pitcher goes at least 5 innings. Blake Snell hasn't been able to finish 5 innings all season long. We got to take a quick break in this one, but we'll break down some more of this game on the other side. A ton to get into. Blake Snell still not performing. The bullpen back to form, and the bottom of the order absolutely raking. Brett Wisely, man, this guy is ridiculous. Just constant, just a machine down there at the bottom of the order. Not a Pat Burrell machine, just a hitting machine, if you know what I mean. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app will actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes all the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I love the last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% on buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, whatever you're into. And zone deals are pretty sweet too. If you know you want to go see the Giants and you know you want to sit in a specific part of the yard, like maybe on the right field wall up in the arcade, or maybe you want to get rowdy in those left field bleachers, you just choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. Save even more money. I love saving money. I know you guys do too. And of course, you gotta love the all-in pricing. Make sure to toggle this feature on to show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. I hate surprise fees, so this sounds great to me. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. The Giants get an 8-4 win over the Phillies. A little bit of revenge after getting swept in Philadelphia on not the last road trip, but the prior one that was just abysmal. Where the Giants only got 3 wins on that roadie. We don't need to talk about that road trip because the Giants won today. They're back on track. A game over 500 with the win. They moved to 28-27 with the loss. The Phillies still 38-17. That's a damn good ball club that the Giants just beat. And that's a good sign because the Giants have been beaten up on some pretty teams. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great to see the Giants winners of 8 of their last 10. They won, 4 comeback games in a row on the road in crazy dramatic fashion. This was against the Mets and the Pirates. They also swept the Rockies. But again, that's the Rockies. It's not like the Giants are going out and beating the best teams in baseball. They're kind of beating up on the little guys right now. And this week, you definitely got the big guys in baseball coming in. The Yankees and the Phillies, 2 of the best teams in baseball this year. I mean, maybe a potential World Series preview this week. I mean, the Giants might be seeing the 2 teams that might face each other in the Fall Classic this year. The Yankees look so good out in the American League East, and the Phillies in the National League East look like world beaters as well. 2 of the best offenses in baseball, and the Yankees pitching staff, man, even without Garrett Cole, looks just filthy. We'll get to the Yankees a little later. Actually, I should remind you guys, I won't be able to bring you guys those postcasts against the Yankees during that series. I'm super bummed. I'm not going to be in town. I'll also be unable to bring you the postcast for the last game of this Phillies series. Tomorrow is going to be our last Giants postcast on the Locked On Giants channel. Before we take a quick break, I got a bachelor party to go to. I'll be on assignment, as people in the industry like to say, and I'll be back after the Yankees series. We'll get right back to it, but I am going to be gone for these next couple days, starting after tomorrow's game. So stick with us. We'll be right back from that break. But no, we'll be watching all these Giants games from there. I'm really bummed that we don't get to take you guys through that Yankees series, the end of this Phillies series. Hopefully the Giants can get a win tomorrow and lock up this Phillies series as a win before we even get to that third game. And then you guys don't need as much info from the postcast. I digress. The Giants today, though, the offense bails out Blake Snell. They score 8 runs after Snell was kind of shaky again today. He looked great through the first 3 innings, minus that home run he gave up to Schwarber. But in the 4th inning, he just seemed to hit a wall again. And it's not a matter of guys teeing off on his pitches. Guys are swinging and missing still. He's got a whiff rate up around 32%, 32.5%. That's in the top 9% of pitchers in baseball. He's got the swing and miss stuff. It's a matter of locating it. And once Blake Snell starts being able to locate things better than he has been, which it's hard to be worse than he was in his first couple starts at his location, I think this guy's really going to start to click, but we need to start seeing it soon. It's getting to be do or die time, and it's urgent. This guy needs to start delivering on the mound. It's already Memorial Day. He's only got a 1-year deal, a 1-and-1 with the player option. I don't want to see Blake Snell back in a Giants uniform next year, because if he is, that means he pitched really bad this year, and nobody wants to go out and sign him for more than his 1-year deal is worth with the Giants. And that's a bad sign. That would mean that Blake Snell dramatically underperformed, and that's what he seems on pace to do. I don't want that. I don't think you guys want that either. I think we all want to see Snellzilla return to form on the mound. He was getting swing and miss stuff, as I said. His curveball looked great. His slider looked great early on. We haven't seen him snapping off breaking pitches like that at all this season. Didn't hang nearly as many pitches. It's tough, though, when you end up giving up that deep shot and then giving up another 2 runs. One of them was not earned. We got to mention the Chapman error did allow another run to score that put a runner on that shouldn't have been on base in the first place, and that guy ended up scoring. So Snell really only gave up 3 runs today, 3 earned. He gave up 4 total, but it's a little bit of a journey so far this season with him, and it's getting old. I don't blame Giants fans for being exasperated with this guy, watching him on the mound. It's tough when you can't have a starting pitcher last longer than 4 innings. That is not great for the Giants. And luckily for Snell, guys delivered in the bottom of the order. The Giants have not been hitting really well with the runners on scoring position, or they didn't do so today. They have been hitting really well with runners in scoring position on this road trip and in recent days. But today, just 3 for 15. They left 8 runners on base. But when it mattered most, Wisely, Ramos, Yastrzemski, they got it done. Those guys combined for 6 RBIs, 5 hits between the 3 of them as well. That and a walk from Mike Yastrzemski as well. So 6 times on base from those 3 guys at the bottom of the order. I will take that every single game if we can get that kind of production from those guys. The Giants with 12 hits in total. So it's not like it was just the bottom of the order producing. Pat Bailey had a couple hits in this one. Tyro Estrada had a couple hits in this one. And Luis Matos had a couple hits in this one. So everybody up and down the order, 1 through 9, really contributing to this Giants win. And that's more of the same from what we've been seeing from this Giants lineup. The young guys in this lineup have really provided a spark of energy for this Giants team. It's reinvigorated some of these veterans who seemed like they were kind of just dragging through day in, day out, just going through the routine. It didn't seem like they were having too much fun in that Giants dugout with all these young guys down there. It seems like they have turned their fortune around, turned their attitudes around, and it's really showing on the field as the Giants. I mean, how bad did they look against the Phillies the last time they played? How bad did this offense look the last time they played the Phillies? It looks a lot better. It helps when you have Taijuan Walker out on the mound. That guy's no Zach Wheeler. He's no Aaron Nola. So the Giant, he wasn't great today, but he's not like a terrible pitcher in baseball. I mean, the Phillies don't have very many terrible players. That's why they're 38-17. So for the Giants to go out and win a game against a good team like the Phillies, it feels good after beaten up on some of the lower level of competition in Major League Baseball to go out and beat a team that is a World Series contender at the top of their game, playing great baseball lately. This one feels good. Back at Oracle Park, a Memorial Day win. Vibes are high. It was beautiful out there at the ballpark. I wouldn't know out here in the sunset in the city. It is socked in with fog, as it always is, but it looked beautiful out at the yard today as the Giants get an 8-4 Memorial Day win. We got to take a quick break, but we're going to break down this game a little bit more, wrap up the show on the other side. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service advice from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every single time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. The Giants get an 8-4 win over the Philadelphia Phillies at Oracle Park. And it just feels good to beat a competitive team, man, because I mean, I've seen it all over Twitter the last few days. Everybody enjoying these Giants wins, but concerned that that's come against some lesser competition. The Phillies definitely not lesser competition. They're a great baseball team. And this was fueled by the offense again, this young group of Wisely, Ramos, Matos all collect 2 hits each in this game. I mean, the young guys continue to hit. Wisely looks good at short, the gapper in a key moment with Yaz on second base, or excuse me, that single with Yaz on second base to really change this game. Wisely batting .450 now on the season. His OPS up still over 1,000, 1,079 on the season. I am concerned about Lamont Wade Jr. I don't think Wilmer Flores can be the everyday answer at first base. And I know what all you Giants fans are probably thinking. Brandon Belt is sitting out there, sitting in free agency, just waiting for a phone call. And I think Brandon Belt, I wouldn't hate that, man. Let me tell you, I wouldn't hate seeing Brandon Belt make a return to Oracle Park, play some first base for the Giants. It gives you a glove at first that Wilmer frankly doesn't have. Wilmer's not a terrible fielding first baseman, but he's certainly no Brandon Belt. And Brandon Belt's no Wilmer at the plate anymore. Wilmer Flores, a much better hitter than Brandon Belt is at this point in their respective careers. But I wouldn't hate the signing. I mean, the Giants have a couple different options, a couple different ways they could go. I'm curious to see if they kick the tires on a Brandon Belt. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. One more thing I want to mention on this show before we get out of here. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, you see the tie-dye shirt. I had to do it today. One of my personal all-time favorites, regardless of sport, man, Bill Walton passes away at 71 years old after a fight with cancer. And this man, he was a great baseball fan. He's been to numerous Giants games, tons and tons of, I think his last time out there, I'm pretty sure he did go, if you're a Grateful Dead fan, you already know what I'm going to say. I'm pretty sure he went to some of those Grateful or Dead and Company shows at Oracle Park last summer when the Dead and Company finished their final tour out there. And if you know Bill Walton, you know that the energy, the love that he would bring and share with everybody, regardless of who you were, wherever you were in the world, it just epitomizes that music, that group. And he just tried to share his love of life with everybody. And I think if we were all a little bit more like Bill Walton, the world would be a much better place. Certainly would be a much more fun place. But genuinely, rest in peace to a legend, a rock star broadcaster. I mean, I am no UCLA fan. Shout out Brian Murphy, but I mean, you can't knock the success, the greatness that Bill Walton had a player who is well ahead of his time in the NBA. I know this is a baseball show, but I mean, Bill Walton, I think, transcended a lot of these things, transcended all sports. And I know that a lot of Bay Area sports fans just connected with his vibe and his energy in general. So even if you are a Giants fan, I would be willing to bet that you probably like Bill Walton too. Even if you're not a huge basketball fan, you've probably heard some of his antics on the air. You've probably at least seen or heard a few clips from Bill Walton or seen some from his playing career. And you probably like Bill Walton too. If you're a San Francisco native or a Bay Area native, it feels like his vibe is so similar with the vibes that just permeate from a lot of the communities in the Bay Area. And I'm gonna miss him, man. I'm gonna miss him. March Madness will never be the same without Bill Walton. That's about all the time that we have for you on today's show. Took a little bit of a digression there, but hey, we what are you gonna do? Just not acknowledge Bill Walton, man? I mean, come on. Anyways, Giants win 8-4 at Oracle Park in the first game of the homestand on Memorial Day. A great day for baseball. I love Memorial Day baseball, and having Memorial Day, not that's the wrong way to phrase it, but if you or your family, loved ones have served in the military, know someone who's given their life in one of those battles, conflicts, my heart goes out to you and your family, and hopefully you can find a way to celebrate them today. Thanks for joining us on the Locked On Giants postcast. Giants win 8-4 over the Phillies. That's all the time we got for you today. We'll come to you live tomorrow after Giants and Phillies game 2 of this 3-game set at Oracle Park. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Peace.